Hello, this is David Chill from the hotfoiluk.com website and welcome to another one of our 2019 videos. This year we thought we'd tackle a little bit about what we call make readies. This is the material that goes onto the platen or the flatbed of your hot foil machine, and it seems to confuse people. In fact, to be honest, it confuses me a little bit of the time as well. But there are 2 or 3 main products that we use, but there are 2 or 3 dozen products out there on the market that you could use for your make ready. Make ready is a generic term because you need to have a material onto your printing bed to make it ready to print, hence the name. The most common one we tend to use is this one, which is called press-pan card. Now, press-pan card is a thin brown card which is really quite dense. What you don't want is that soft grey board, because that really is too soft. And the idea is that you put a piece of card onto the bed of your printing machine, so when your metal plate comes in contact with the metal platen, the two don't meet because you can apply about a ton of pressure, and you want to have something in between that gives a little bit of cushioning to even out your print. So what you would never try and do, and I was always taught this, is never have a metal plate coming into contact with another metal plate, because you could either crush your type or you could, in theory, crush your magnesium die. So this is why we use press-pan card. This can be used for most of the jobs. Probably we use it for 90% of the work that we do. It's not that expensive, and at 2019 prices you're probably looking at £2 a piece. So the next question I hear you ask is, how long is it going to last for? And it's a little bit like, how long will a light bulb last for? If you haven't got your machine set up properly, you can put a dirty grate impression into the middle of your card and it will only last you 2 or 3 impressions. But once you get used to it and used to setting up your machine, I would say that you should we get somewhere between 6,000 and 10,000 impressions out of one side of the card, and then we would turn it over and use the other side. So you can see it really is very cost effective. The important thing to remember with the press-pan card is, once you have some impressions in there, and this is not a flat and even surface, you must change the board. Otherwise, what will happen is when you come to do your next job, the board will be uneven and your impression will also be uneven. I've often come across people who've never changed that board and they're wondering why their images are not coming out properly, and it's simply down to the fact that this board has been so pitted with various images that they just do not have a flat or even surface to work with, and it's as simple as changing the card. So now we're going to place this press-pan card onto the platen, and what we will do with a little bit of sellotape is put a piece on either side to hold it to the metal platen, and then what I like to do is get a piece of 80-gram paper, just ordinary white paper, and again sellotape that over the top. Why would I do that? The simple reason is, when we're marking up the position of where we would like our printed item to go onto the platen, I can mark it with a pen or a pencil, and after half a dozen marks I can discard that piece of paper and put another piece of paper over the top. It saves me marking the press-pan card, and then I've got so many marks I'm not sure which is the right one to use. So after press-pan card, what other make-readies can we use? So what we can use is this material here. I've always known it as Pertinex. Sometimes people call it phenolic board, and it is like a PC board. It's very strong and tough, and we would tend to use this mainly for things like printing onto letterheads or complement slips that are quite thin. Because of its strength and it's so tough, you don't tend to get too much of an impression coming through the piece of paper. Or you would use this material, which is called glass epoxy board. We don't tend to use this a great deal, but it is very strong and very rigid. Another material we can use is this one here, which we call tough film. It's opaque and slightly rubbery and soft. Now this is really good if you've got a very heavy impression, so you've got a very bold or solid image, or you need to level out your make ready, and you can put this underneath your phenolic or Pertinex. Again, it's quite expensive, this material, but it seems to be very good for those tricky jobs where you need to have a solid impression going onto an item. This is what we call magnetic plas rubber, and by the sound of its name, it is magnetic and actually sticks and adheres to the metal platen on your machine. This is a little bit more expensive, will be £3 or £4 for a piece, but again gives you a good solid backing and you won't get much show through from your printing. Here is another make ready, and this one, as it looks, is really a solid piece of stainless steel. All it is a thin flat piece that we have. In fact, this came off the back of a machine. It's nothing special, and just go to any stainless steel stockist and ask them for it. And the reason for this one is we would put this over the platen and protect the metal plate when we happen to be die cutting. So you can probably see in the camera where we've had here a heart-shaped cutting die. It's marked the metal plate. If you didn't have this on and you used it with your machine, what it would do is mark the actual platen of the machine, and then you'd had an uneven surface for everything else you started printing. So the beauty of this is when you are die cutting, you can put it on your machine and take it off again, and you won't have any damage on the bed of your hot foiler. And finally, last but not least, this material, which we call rubber cork, and we use this almost exclusively when we are doing the toner or sublimation foil printing, and we place this on the platen, and it's a little bit softer, so it allows us to quite easily do that sublimation style printing. Do give me a call, because any of these things can be available through myself, and you have underneath at the end of the video our website and telephone number. Thank you very much.